Good morning, guys. Today I'm back with a video where we study Korean together again. And the reason why is because, first of all, I haven't studied Korean in a really long time seriously. Like, I used to just sit down and write notes about Korean, like grammar, vocabs, but I haven't done that in a really, really long time. And I've just been missing it so much. But another reason is because my sister and I are going to Seoul for her graduation trip in March, so that's why I wanted to do a little study Korean with me video where I brush up a little bit on my Korean skills because I am a little bit rusty. I do want to share a little bit about how I learned Korean and language learning in general, because linguistics is actually one of my passions, and I actually wanted to study linguistics in university before deciding to go for design instead. But always been a passion of mine, so I just wanted to talk about that for a second. So as you guys know, English is my second language. My first language is Chinese, Cantonese to be specific. In order to make a YouTube channel or to start as an illustrator online, I really tried really hard to practice English. And even though I studied English at school and my school was an English school, I wasn't really good at spoken English until I started our Instagram account and my YouTube channel, where I got more opportunities to do spoken English and practice speaking English. And as you know, speaking the language that you're learning is the most efficient way to practice that language. And with that being said, even though I've been learning Korean for a really, really long time, I don't really have anyone to practice with me because I'm not a big fan of making online friends. And there are a lot of fishy people out there, and I don't have many friends who learn Korean IRL who can practice with me, so I don't have a lot of chances to speak it. So even though I can listen to Korean a lot and I can understand most of the variety shows that I watch, or understand a lot of the lyrics that are in songs, I'm not really good at spoken Korean. But that's the one thing that I really want to be good at or better at, because then when I'm on a trip, I can speak it, you know? Just really wanted to practice. So maybe I'll make more of these videos, and in these videos, I'll try to speak. So I think now I will try to explain my Korean journey in Korean, and sorry if the grammar is wrong because I'm not really good at grammar, and as I said, I haven't spoken it a lot. So 안녕하세요. 지금 저의 한국어 journey를 알려줄게요. 처음에는 제일 처음에는 그냥 재밌게 예능이나 음악이나 보면서 한국어를 배웠는데, 그 다음에 좀 정식하게 한국어를 배우고 싶은데 내가 진짜 제일 어려웠어요. 왜냐면 한국어랑 영어에서 존댓말 없잖아요. 근데 한국어 배우기는 존댓말로 시작하는 거야. 그래서 존댓말은 진짜 저에게 제일 큰 문제고, 이제도 익숙하지 않은 느낌. 그래도 다행인 것, 한국어 뭐라서 다른 사람보다 한국어를 쉽게 배울 수 있어. 왜냐면 문법 배워야는 진짜 많이 연습하면 돼. 그때 단어를 진짜 열심히 외워야 하는 일이잖아요. 한국어랑 발음 너무 비슷해서 배워하지 않아도 발음만으로 대충 알아요. 비슷해서 한국어 배우기 진짜 큰 장점이, 언어 배우기는 진짜 저에게 제일 좋아하는 일 중에 하나예요. 중국어랑 일본어 사이에 비슷한 점이 진짜 너무 많잖아요. 한국어 숫자 발음은 한국어는 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 비슷하잖아요.
The mic was not plugged in, so I'll just demo it again. So in Cantonese, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And in Korean is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And every time I say this to anyone who doesn't know Korean, who speaks Cantonese, they're like, whoa, it's the same, they're exactly the same, it's so easy, learning Korean so easy. But vocabs, yes. I just thought of another really good example to demonstrate how, like, the languages I know are vastly different. Like, listen to how I spoke in Korean. I'm like super soft spoken, and then in English it's like normal, kind of like what people are used to, normal kind of direct speaking. And then in Cantonese it's like I'm cursing your entire family. I'm like, what is your family? And it's like, haven't you eaten yet?
근데 광동어에서 애교 같은 거, 애정 표현 같은 거 거의 없는 거예요. 그래서 이 셋 언어가 비슷하긴 한데 그 뉘앙스가 아예 달라. Like you will never catch me saying I love you in Cantonese
ngon 네.
or English. I just think the nuance is not the same. But 한국어에서 사랑해, 좋아해, 예쁘다, 귀엽다 같은 말 진짜 너무 쉽게 말하는 거예요. 아무튼 저희 3월에 서울 여행 한국어 연습 많이 할 수 있으면 좋겠고 이런 영상도 많이 찍어볼게요. 한국어이나 일본어 하는 상. Anyways, 이제 공부 시작. You know what's the best way to learn Korean? I'll tell you a hot tip. A hot tip is to absolutely fall in love with a K-pop group until you feel like you absolutely have to watch their content when it first comes out. So then they won't have subs. So then you'll have to force yourself to go through listening to the Korean in the video, and then you will be forced to learn. Yeah, that's my tip. Today we'll be using Good Notes as our notebook and be taking some lessons from Talk to Me in Korean, which is the website I like to receive my lessons from. It's absolutely free and it's absolutely not a sponsor at all, but it's a really good website to learn Korean. Actually, you know what? Let's take a level test because you might think, girl, the way you just spoke to us in Korean is just so cringe. Like, you clearly do not know any Korean. But wait, let me prove myself. I'm just bad at speaking it, okay? Let's test again. Last time I tested, I was in level 8. Choose one that best fits in the blank. 뭐예요? 장난감이에요. 10, 100, 1000. This is another thing that is really similar to Cantonese. 10 is 10 and it's sub in Cantonese. 100 is 100 and it's ba in Cantonese. And 1000 is 1000, which is 10 in Cantonese. So you get an idea of how easy it is for me to learn words in Korean. This is another thing that I first got really confused when I'm learning Korean. It is the transfer of the last alphabet to the next word when it's like a circle thing. Because when I first started learning Korean, I was standing 17, and whenever D8 will introduce himself, he will be like D8입니다, and I'm like, why is it not 입니다? Why is it 십니다? And it's because D8 ends with an S at the end. The sh, the s. Oh my god, I got worse in Korean. That's horrible. Anyway, let's start our lesson today. It will be level 8, lesson 29, because I've completed all the previous lessons. So that will be what we're doing. Also, did you know that Good Notes was created by someone from Hong Kong? That was something that I didn't know before now, and that makes me so proud. Ew, this is the most ugly word I've ever written. Welcome to another lesson. Throughout this series, we'll take a look at common situations and some of the advanced expressions you can use. To feel happy is often translated as 행복하다 or 행복을 느끼다. 행복하다 is more about being happy in general or being a happy person in life. So true. So let's get into first phrase, which is 너무 신나요. So excited. 진짜 너무 잘 됐다. This is a little bit of a complicated expression because it's not literal. These are phrases that we hear really commonly on shows or in dramas. So that's why I think even though you don't really think of these phrases off the top of your head if you're not used to speaking in Korean, you still are able to pick up on what they mean when you hear it. And that is the fun part of learning your language, I think. It's observing different things and learning things just without even consciously realizing it. It's just by osmosis, if you will. 뭔가 좋은 예감이 들어요. How did I write that wrong, girl? I even pronounced it right. 왠지 오늘 좋은 일이 생길 것 같아요. This It's really literal, no explanation needed. And if you're for some reason wondering why I am having my glasses so low on the tip of my nose like that, like a little old grandma, it's because my lashes, I did my mascara today and they're way too long and they touch my lens if I have them like right up my nose bridge, so that's why I'm having them so low. I'm having my grandma moment. Anyways, if you guys are learning Korean or if you are planning to learn Korean, feel free to share something that you learned about Korean or something in your Korean learning journey in the comments below, because I love learning languages, as I said before, and I actually contemplated learning linguistics and Korean before deciding to go into design, and it's just a really interesting process to me how other people learn language as well. So if you learn a second language or just like Korean, and share your tips or fun facts or some fun episodes you had learning Korean in the description, in the comments below, because I would love to read about them. I think it would be so fun. 날아갈 것 같은 기분이에요. You are about to fly. Then the last one. 이게 꿈인지 생시인지 모르겠어요. That will go and highlight. For sentences like these, where you just basically copy and paste the entire sentence to express yourself, I don't really make complicated notes, and I just simply copy it and then just say it a couple of times along with writing the notes, because you just basically say the same thing as the notes. But for grammar, I will try to make my own sentence so I can further understand the grammar. So let's do the following lesson together as well. And you might be asking, like, Melody, didn't you say learning Korean with Chinese is way easier? Why do you learn with English? And that's because we don't have a lot of free resources to learn Korean with, so that's why I'm learning it with English. As I said, this site is completely free, and they even have audio, like SoundCloud lessons, and a whole ass YouTube channel you can learn from. So that is a way more complete resource that I could find. It's way easier. That's why I'm learning in English. So today we will start off with 3 sentences, then practice changing different parts of the sentences so that you do not end up simply memorizing the 3 same sentences. We want you to be able to be as flexible as possible with the Korean sentences that you can make. That's great. Thank you so much. So let's learn the 3 key sentences first. Let's make this note a little bit special. 저는 들은 대로 전달했을 뿐이에요. Wow, this is a little bit of like, but we love it. 혼자 가지 말고 친구들이랑 같이 가는 건 어때요? 듣는 대로, 본 대로, 읽은 대로, 아침에 본 대로, 제가 말한 대로. So it all ends with 대로, so we know that the main part of this phrase is 대로. So we can also go back, and we don't really need to add any translations because we basically already know these words. We need to write them down to know these examples exist, these variations exist. For the second one, we will do the exact same. You always hear that, but it's a different meaning, but literally it means the same thing. It's like only, just. So 너뿐이야 is only you, I only love you. In this case, it is just literal. This is also a really, really good chance for you to practice your handwriting because, as you know, Korean is a little bit of a Lego structure as a language, as an alphabet. So it can get a little bit wonky if you don't practice. So you need to practice to make them look like it makes sense. So like if you're learning Korean, you can follow Talk to Me in Korean on Twitter because I frequently see them replying to people's questions about Korean. They answer really well and they explain it really well, really shortly, really precisely as well. So that's why I really recommend you to follow them so you could learn some tips and tricks that you otherwise might not have thought of on your own, which I think is really interesting. That is also why I asked you guys to share some tips and tricks, because everyone learns language differently, and it's just really interesting for me to know how other people think of languages. So I've written down the variations for key sentence number 1, and now I want to write down some personal notes. Before we do that, scratch that. We have to make our own practice sentences so we could be good at making these sentences. So let's think of some practice sentences we could say with this. 저는 들은 대로 전달했을 뿐이에요. That is the most effective way to learn grammar. Just write it down. So now on to the second one. Korean, for whatever language you're studying, be sure to speak it out loud, because then you will memorize it a lot better. Find somewhere you're comfortable with speaking and other people are comfortable with you speaking. It will help you absorb the knowledge much better. It will also be so much better for your pronunciation, because as I said before, I didn't really practice my spoken skills, so that's one thing that I really regret, because aside from not being able to like think of what to say on the spot, it's also really hard for me to have a good pronunciation. So then I started speaking while I'm writing notes, and started following the pronunciations of the things I heard from TV shows, dramas, variety shows, music. I started following them and like speaking like them on my own, so I could practice my spoken skills more. I found that to be really helpful, solidifying your spoken skills. Practice sentence. Oh, it's so hard to do this. It's like I'm back in primary school all over again, because you have to think of those things. I'm just not creative, okay? Sometimes I'm like, I write a sentence that I'm not sure if it's right. I have to papago it. I have to make sure it's right. One more. 하지 말고 문장에서 써보는 건 어때요? Last one. Nice. Space equals made. 1시간 후에 문을 닫는다고 하니까 내일 다시 오는 게 좋을 것 같아요. It's so long. 여기가 제일 좋다고 하니까. You can visibly notice my handwriting getting worse, and I am ashamed. 오늘은 일찍 자는 게 좋을 것 같아요. That we're learning today, they all have a little bit of an attitude. They're all like a little bit shading someone, and that's kind of fun. What beat are they having over at Talk to Me in Korean? We'll never know. Let's make some practice sentences, and then we'll end today's session. Believe it or not, I've been filming for way too long. Oh God, it's been almost 3 hours. I'm hungry, so all I'm writing about is food. I'm so boring on my sample center. My practice sentence have no space, no drama. Yeah! This is all I'm thinking about. Did you hear about the new AirPods Max possibly coming out, but also not possibly coming out? I want to get a new pair, but I'm waiting for the new one. So that's what I wrote about in my sample sentence. 다음 달에 새 이어폰을 나온다고 하니까 그때까지 기다리는 게 좋을 것 같아요. What hot wood young is this, guys? One left. I don't know. I have no creativity. I'm going to try to use Premiere Pro to edit this video again, but it doesn't save automatically like Final Cut Pro, and it always quits on itself. So I made this sample sentence to remind myself to remember to save it. 이 컴퓨터는 고장 자주 난다고 하니까 5분마다 저장하는 게 좋을 것 같아요. We can go to the highlight phase. So overall, I would say this chapter is pretty easy. Once you know the patterns, you can just apply it to your own sentences. The most difficult part for me is always coming up with my own practice sentences because I have no creativity whatsoever. But if you don't put it in practice sentence by yourself and you just look at the chapter, you will never absorb that piece of knowledge. So I always find it super, super, super important to just try to make your own sentence on your own. If you're from Hong Kong, maybe you know this thing called Yalopzao. You basically did that thing where you practice various forms of grammar by making your own sentences, and I wouldn't say it's fun, but I would definitely say it's helpful in helping you learn grammar. Yeah, basically this would be how the end of one chapter looks like on my iPad. And recently I like to add my own little doodles to make learning and studying easier and more fun. Always do that. It depends on my mood, really. That is one chapter done, and I hope I can finish more chapters in the very near future so I could up my Korean game, so I could enjoy my time at Korea with less anxiety. But yeah, thank you so much for coming along on this study session with me today. It's been a really, really long time since I've did one like this one, and it's been really fun. And it's also maybe the first time I've spoken Korean in full sentences on camera in a video and not in a live stream. Yeah, I'm glad it all went semi-smoothly, and I hope you don't judge my Korean that much when you see this video. So let's study more together in the future, and I hope my trip to Korea will be a smooth one. And see you in the next video, and hope my Premiere Pro doesn't crash like I predicted in my notes just now. So yeah, see you next time.